it's going to get down to what we call infrastructure. A lot of folks saying that the fact that we have millions of people not able to drink water because there's lead and it's coming through lead pipes, I think that's infrastructure. I think broadband is infrastructure. It's not just roads, bridges, highways, etc.
The president hosting a bipartisan group of lawmakers to sell his infrastructure spending bill, which the Democrats hope to push through with or without Republican support. But Republicans slam it as a slush fund for Democrat pet projects. Louisiana Congressman Garrett Graves was at that meeting with the president yesterday, and he joins me now. So I'm hearing this was a really long meeting, about 2 hours, and his goal was to get you on board with this infrastructure plan. So tell us what happened to that meeting, and did he achieve that goal?
Well, look, the meeting opened up pretty good in that he talked about being willing to negotiate size and scope and definition of infrastructure and costs. All of those things were the things that we wanted to hear, because we do think that it's too big in size and scope. We think that you can't just add the term infrastructure to any word and it suddenly becomes infrastructure. And so that part opened up, I think, really good. But then as we got into the details, there certainly was pushback on the concerns that we raised about imposing new taxes on raising corporation taxes, raising taxes on individuals, and how that actually undermines any ability to get America ahead, to improve the competitiveness of the U.S. workforce. So we did run into some problems or some headwinds in some of the concerns that we raised.
Yeah, I'm looking at the breakdown of what exactly is in this infrastructure spending proposal. And I mean, there is so much stuff in here that's straight up social welfare or Green New Deal type stuff, like $25 billion to eliminate racial and gender equities, $12 billion for community colleges. So is there any chance that you can, that Republicans would be able to negotiate all of that stuff out of the bill and get a straight up classic definition of infrastructure, roads and bridges spending bill?
Oh, Carly, you really hit the nail on the head. That's where we've got to be focusing. There's no question across the United States, there's great need in roads and bridges. We've got to focus on delivering those results, those traffic and transportation solutions for America all across the country. By adding all these other things, you're in a situation where the United States does an awful job already with infrastructure programs, with the federal bureaucracy. And instead of trying to focus on those and making them deliver better, deliver more efficiently, you're going to heap more responsibility on the federal government that already is doing a poor job delivering those. It's the wrong solution. We've got to focus on those core areas of infrastructure where we have great needs, on our ports, our waterways, our roads, and our bridges. Some of those areas, making sure we get broadband into some of these rural areas that don't have it, and then we can work with our state and local governments on some of the other things that need to be done. Really don't see these as being federal responsibilities, and you're not going to get America ahead by saying that we're going to improve our roadways, but then we're going to come in and impose massive taxes across the middle class or across corporations in the United States.
And I know that you brought up broadband. I know that's something that definitely is receiving bipartisan support. So this meeting was the first step for President Biden, meeting with, Democrats and Republicans, the 8 of you. What's next? What's his next move to try and get Republicans on board with this?
Well, obviously, this is going to have a lot of content. So the next step is the president offered to send his team over to sit with us to talk through different concerns, different ideas where we're on the same page and see if we can come up with a compromise version. Look, I'm cautiously optimistic, but I also know that we had 8 bipartisan coronavirus bills only to have this last $1.9 trillion bill that was really crammed down America's throat with massive spending in areas that don't have anything to do with coronavirus. So cautiously optimistic, but we'll see if later this week, if they come over and have good faith negotiations. Certainly look forward to that happening.
Well, that's right. And, the president says that inaction on infrastructure is not negotiable. So something is going to happen. The price tag and the size of it are the big questions. Congressman, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
You bet.
Okay.
Thank you.